Excellent, thanks Cindy, and a very good morning, good afternoon everyone. A very warm welcome to our session with Cindy and Mary today. Looking at rebounding with passion, with presence and profits. And I know Cindy's going to do a bit of a recap around COVID and what's been going on her end. As usual, you'll all be aware we put you on mute and turn off your cameras to avoid any disturbances during the session. So you'll all see a chat box at the bottom of your screens if you just want to pop some notes in there, any questions for Cindy and Mary, that would be great. We are recording the session, so that will be forwarded as usual to you after. But that leaves me with great pleasure to introduce Cindy and Mary for today's session. Thanks, Cindy, over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, and welcome to all of you. And this is so great because you might have heard Mark speak earlier. You know, our IAC members are starting to see things opening, so we're thrilled. Also with us today, we have Marcia Murphy. You'll see her on the screen. And then Mary Hanna, who Kate mentioned. So Marcia will also be looking at the Q&A chat box and will interrupt either one of us, Mary or myself, at any time should you have questions. Our style is that we like to make this engaging, just like we would if you were in, you know, an actual meeting room. So we're gonna have you ask questions and then simply we'll stop for a minute and answer those questions. So as Kate said, we titled this Rebounding, but rebounding with passion, presence, and making money. So before I even get into it, I want to get your head around a few things. One, and some of you, I mean, a lot of people on here know me and have listened to me over the years, but my definition of passion is a combination of love and anger. And if you really love this business, as I do, it should royally tick you off that we are already into 5 months and we are still working from home and little bit of travel. So you will see me posting a lot that I'm on the road. Mary's been on the road. She and I went to the East Coast, opened up Ocean House. We leave for Napa, which is quite exciting, Mary. I don't know, that's like in a week or so. And the customer actually said, we'd like you to do a competitive shop of some of the other wineries in the area. We said, well, if we must, I mean, okay. She goes, yeah, if you could come up maybe on Saturday, we don't start till Monday. I said, oh, we'll just figure that out. No problem. I hate to take away from my weekend, but since my weekends have been doing that much anyway, I'll be there. So when I say passion, I sincerely mean it. You know, even if you're listening to this right now and you are a person that is a little bit, has anxiety, you're a little nervous about getting back on a plane, that is totally fine. But if you're in this industry, you don't need to share that. You can share it with your family and friends, but you don't need to go on to a whole story about, well, I'm not going to travel until maybe the vaccine's out. I'm not going to travel till next year. That's all fine. But I have had a lot of people that have really pushed themselves back to a point that the customers are like, why would I talk? I mean, you're making me nervous. So it is important. If you're at high risk, of course you're not going to travel. If you have any kind of diabetes or health, I get it. But if you really think about it, the people like myself, like Mary, like Marcia, we are getting on planes and we are going out there and we're going to work. And we're taking all the precautions. We're following the rules. We wear a mask on the 5-hour flight, unless you're eating, of course, or drinking. And we are showing up with presence. Now, this is really, really important because, you know, I think too many people have been buried back away, kind of pulled the covers over their head for the last 5 months. And yeah, 5 months, March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah, we're almost headed into the 5th month. And it truly is not the way to be. You have to be good at building your business, rebounding so we can make money. Last one is profit. There's absolutely no reason you should be reducing pricing at all. And that is very important. You know, if anything, we're going to have to make up so much money for all the refitting of the hotels, for all of the, you know, hygiene equipment that we've had to buy, for all of the lost revenue over the last 4.5 months, for all of the, you know, lost revenue that we're going to have to do even as we open because we're only at 50% capacity, or as we are in California, we were open in our restaurant, things were great, we were at 50% capacity, and again, like that, in literally 2 weeks, our governor shut us down again. So now he's saying, well, it might be 3 weeks, just hang on. hair salons, nail salons. Everybody was open for 2 weeks. It was buzzy. And so yesterday he came out with a brilliant idea that we could have hair salons outside. I said, oh, in parking lots? What do you like, wash your hair first, go there? I mean, what, like some of this stuff makes no sense. But what you have to do is you have to be strong. And you have to know that without a doubt, you are going to be better off tomorrow than today if you have that positive outlook of the future. So as Kate mentioned, I'm here trying to keep a smile on my face as I do, not faking it. People go, I go, no, I'm not faking it. Mary is also with me. And it looks like Mary, you have on the same top. It's kind of funny. Look at the picture. It's like we took it. I mean, that is so cute. I love that. You know, I pick up on things like that. Please, and again, I introduce you to Marsha. Please feel free to put anything into the chat box so that we can engage with you. We are recording this session, so we'll be able to share that Kate will be able to share that for those of you that are on. So it is time to transition. And when you look at what transition is all about, it is really adapting. It is not necessarily changing to what people call the new normal. Now, some of you listening to me may disagree. I do get pushback on some of my comments, and that's fine. I think I have the ability to say what I think, and because I'm out and about, I had a guy the other day on a webinar that was probably like 700 people say to me, you know, first of all, the planes aren't clean. I said, have you flown? And he's like on the screen. He came on because we let people as they had questions. He said, no. I said, then how do you know that? He said, they never were clean before. I said, well, you're making a rash statement. They are clean. The seat pocket in front of you, I never touched that before. Of course, I'm still not touching it, but I did look and it's perfectly clean. So when we say transition, we are going to be transitioning again and again and again. And if you don't like change, I got news for you. You better chat with somebody who enjoys change, because it's going to hit us literally right between the eyes. Like the minute you think you're here, you go back to there. Then you go this way, and then you go that way. Customers, I'm coming back. We're going to have the meeting. 2 weeks prior, a couple people on their team get COVID. You know what? We've decided not to do it. We don't want to put anybody at risk. This is going to happen, I believe, throughout the rest of the year. But does that mean that we're not going to have meetings? Does that mean people are not going to travel to some of your beautiful resorts that, you know, are conference centers and have golf and families are getting out? Absolutely not. People are relaxing, and we have all the stats. We've been on so many, as many of you have, but because we are tied up in so many areas with leisure travel to corporate travel to group business to events, we are seeing it all. So when I say people are relaxing, I am absolutely serious. They are relaxing and they're feeling better. So my flight coming home with Marsha on Tuesday night from San Francisco to LAX was pretty much full, about 3/4 full. The airport in San Francisco was extremely busy. There was people, you know, because we had a later flight, because the only bad thing about it is one flight a day to go from here to here. And you have to stop like in, 3 different spots, but that's all right. But I noticed the buzz, and the buzz was back. There were people, obviously with their parties sitting together. More restaurants were open. Everybody was eating. They were allowing people to, have drinks and enjoy. There were stores that were open, which just 2 weeks ago, that wasn't the case. Domestic travel in all continents, all countries will be the first to step it up. So whether it's pan-Europe, whether it's the UK, whether it's America, whether it's Canada, they will open up. Now, we've had clients in Mexico, and Marsha's already been there twice, working with a couple of our construction customers down there. And that's completely open. People are like, well, you can't go down there. Well, yeah, you can. And she's been there twice. So sometimes everybody says things that they don't really know what they're talking about, but you've got to talk to people who are on the road. 65% of consumers, based on interviews done with luxury travel agents, said they cannot wait to travel. That customer is the one that doesn't care about your 87-page hygiene report. They want to know you're doing it, but they don't need to know it. Now, we're going to talk about what they do need to know before they check in, just for customer service, for guest service. Business travel. 70% of business travelers surveyed are comfortable traveling as long as proper precautions are followed. And, and the thing is, it's not the airlines, it's not the hotels, it's the actual travelers. I mean, I'm following the rules. I'm standing on my little dot, and I'm telling you, I actually enjoy that, because at baggage claim at LAX, I have to say, it has always been a hot mess. People jam and push up and you can't see your bag coming. Now all the dots are around the, baggage claim, carousel, and you have to stand on your dot. And on Tuesday, a person pushed right past all of us, got up, and they walked very nicely and said, can you get either on a dot or get behind the people on the dot? I love the dots now. I mean, that's kind of a new thing. I think it's quite nice. So it's created a way to know you don't need to get that close. And by the way, prior to this, I didn't like people shoving up behind me as I was boarding a plane anyway. You know how people would just be like, I got to get on quickly and pushing. Well, now it's just made everybody be a little bit more cognizant of that. As of May 4th, 90% of US affluent agree I'm in good shape to endure a recession. Now, again, not everybody's affluent. I get that, and not all of your customers, but you do have customers that have the ability to endure a recession. That means they have saved. We had a great 2019. We were going to have the best 2020 we'd had in about, our 2020 was going to be better than 5 years. I mean, we were totally solid, booked out. We had hired more people. It was amazing. Now, the key, as I've always said, you have to have enough money to weather the storm. And the problem is that some businesses just don't have the money, the small businesses, but your companies that are going to get back traveling, they do. And that's very important. It's really important to pay attention to that. The other thing, yes, Mary.
Yeah, so we had a question and some things in the chat box. So Mark also put in that transitioning the product is also part of the Pathway to Reopening guide IAC rebase last week. So the link is there. But Diane did ask a question. She said, hi, Cindy. What about travelers taking public transportation to go to destinations where quarantine restrictions are in place? Here in VT, if you are on a public transportation, you need to quarantine upon arrival for 14 days or 7 days with a negative COVID-19 test.
Right. Okay. So, and Rhode Island was a little bit the same when we got there. Couple things. One is public transportation is definitely going to be next, not right now, simply because you are close. There's a lot going on. That's the biggest issue in New York right now is as people are trying to get back to go to work in some areas, the only way to go, that they've done is the trains. Now there's less traffic, so some people are driving, but some people don't even have a car, and they've always taken public transportation. So that's not, you are going to see more the limo companies, right? The step up, the black Ubers, like when we went to Seattle, which, as you know, Seattle has had a lot of, they had a lot of COVID problems. They were one of the first, and then they've got a lot of, civil unrest, as we know, is going on. And our client said, we want you to take Uber Black. A lot of times we just will take Uber X, Uber, whatever. And, so the Uber Blacks are following the same guidelines because all of those belong under the umbrella of a limo company. And so the limo companies, and again, we're not talking about a limousine, we're talking about the same black Suburban or, just nice car that would pick you up. These Uber drivers that are under Black are doing much better because even people that would just jump in a regular Uber are stepping it up to the Black because they have to go through wiping the car down completely before you get in. So hence not the public transportation. So if you're dealing with customers that are wanting to come and visit and come in, those are the things we have to let them know because that is incredibly important. Hopefully that answered it for you. Anything else?
No, that was it.
So the other thing is that the highest segment of population that's really willing to travel is some of the younger millennials. Now, I always joke that I'm not, I'm a millennial up here, but not like the rest of it. I'm going to tell you right now, it's been 50-50 on the plane. This is what the statistics are showing us, but we have seen 50% of our planes have been people that are literally 45 to 50 and older, and senior people, okay? Like grandparents that you can tell are going to try to be with family and things like that. Now, the other thing is, will school start? Okay, so summer leisure travel may not slow down. And we just came off a call yesterday with a group of educators that are going to put together some really unbelievable curriculum that is based on, having that people are going to pay for, having, your children sign up for an Italian class, but will be taught from a general manager that is at a gorgeous hotel in Italy, cooking class for your teenagers that will be taught from a French chef in Paris. So there's a lot of kind of fun things that are happening at this point that I think is going to really kind of spark some ongoing, extracurricular. These aren't classes that are teaching the math and the science and that sort of thing, but there's not extracurricular activities. So the reason it says summer leisure may not slow down, where many schools, especially like in Texas, where my family is, and I have a 9-year-old nephew, he would be starting school in like a week, and that's not happening. My brother-in-law is a teacher, should have been starting in a week, and now they've pushed that back for 3 weeks. So there will be a lot more staycations of people driving and going to some of these places. So you want to make sure that your property is out there in present, not sharing. Here's what we've got: camps going, s'mores around the campfire. We've got, tents set up, not necessary for them to sleep overnight, but, like kind of teepee tents and fun things with reading classes for kids. I'm sure you're already doing all of this, but this is what we have to do to continue, not just to sustain, but to actually thrive as we go forward. I truly always think about the fact that as you look at some of these trends, I like to back up and recognize that it's important that when you think, I'm going to go back to will school start? When you think about it, you can't be fake, okay? So you can't say, oh, we've got a lot of things for people to do with kids. Well, what are they? So if it's your normal golf or tennis, you've got to come up with new things, because there is absolutely, your storytelling has got to stand out from the masses. So again, backing up to that trend of people that have money, they are traveling and they are spending. And you've got to know that people that have young kids are absolutely clamoring to get out of the house to be able to do some things, because they've been staying at home and homeschooling. But let me go back to authenticity and fake optimism. So people have said to me, you're too optimistic. Okay, well, that you can say whatever you want. I get to be optimistic. I am optimistic, and I'm out there. After Mary and we went to the Ocean House, which is in, Rhode Island. We did the training, and it was the week before the opening, getting everybody getting ready, working with all the reservations teams. The moment we said we're open, 1,000 reservation calls a day. 1,000. Not just looky-loos, book, running unbelievable occupancy, unbelievable rate. Better rate, by the way, this year than last year. They didn't lower price. Pebble Beach, the same thing. Several of the resorts here in California, same thing. Northern Michigan, where I spend some of my time, and I've already been back there. A couple, of the hotels in that area, conference center hotels, running full. They've got golf, they got tennis, they got kayaking. They're doing all the things they can do. Now, the meeting that we had on Monday and Tuesday in Monterey, we were the first group in the hotel. And it is also a big meetings hotel. It's a group hotel. Lots of conference space on the water. We socially distance everybody. We did all the setups, just like the guidelines asked. But by afternoon, everybody wearing masks. By the afternoon, everybody was in their little breakout groups doing things with, we had people, three people at a table. And before that, then they were like 4 and 5. And this, I said to the CEO, because it was his meeting, I said, do you want me to lay the hammer? He goes, no. First of all, we're in meetings in the office all the time. So being optimistic, put some muscle behind it. So when someone says to you, why are you so optimistic? Let me give you 3 stories. I'll tell you exactly why I'm optimistic. I'll show you exactly what's happening. When we opened our restaurant, Dave, our partner, built an outdoor 60 seats of true patio that literally can be there forever now. I mean, the city said we have to take it down to the end of December, and we said, yeah, right, watch us. Unbelievable. And it was sold, packed out the moment we opened up for reservations, all bookings, because the only way we can do it is reservations only. That to me is authentic optimism. So you have to be able to share. You don't have to go through, so I know we're doing this, we're doing that. You have to be able to know the guidelines and know what you're doing. But a lot of these people want to get out there and travel. Now, with that said, health is important. And you heard Mark talk about, the guidelines and all the things that IAC is putting out there. Health has been wealth for a long time. Everything about staying alive, the importance of family. And look at how much we've talked about this over the last 5 years. Time is so important, spending time with family. This wasn't just because of COVID. COVID just forced us to do some things that we already were doing. It's like digital. We've been doing e-learning for the last 10 years. But, people, I don't really like it. I don't like that. We were doing webinars. They're okay. Well, now it's just created a accelerated presence in some of these areas. Bringing people and families together in a single space is what people want. They want to celebrate the birthday. They want to celebrate the fact that 2 people in their family got married in May and nobody could do anything. They want to come together. And again, the restaurant that was in the hotel where we were in Monterey, because they can't serve inside because California, all their patio area, Carmel, the quaint little town of Carmel. And if you follow me on Instagram, you would see those pictures. The mayor allowed everybody just to take all the parking spots in the middle. So you had to park farther away and walk. There was no shuttling because then you'd be on buses and you had to walk. So you just got a little more exercise. And the cafes, it looked like the streets of Paris. And they made it fun. And they didn't make it like, oh, I can't believe it, and just throw out a bunch of tables. The flowers and the umbrellas and the fun that they put into that. So who do you really compete with when you think about it? Returning to stores and retail outlets will be a lot easier. There'll be a lot going on. Every single store and grocery store and market is doing creative things. So if you can't try things on, they're allowing you to buy it. You have to bring it back. Then they've got the infrared. I've literally at Nordstrom saw everything they're doing to the clothes. The bridal shops, have all the protection, the personal protection equipment where they do the lighting on the dresses so that people can try on the dresses. So there's so many people that are doing the same thing that we're doing, that what we have to do is build trust and confidence. So as you're looking at COVID, as you're looking at this and saying, I don't know how we're going to do it, you've got to calm down. You've got to have confidence that your GM, your hotel, IAC, the support of IAC is giving you the confidence to be able to sell, to be able to go to market, and to be able to make sure that everybody feels good. But as I started this, I said, you have to be respectful of everyone's comfort levels, okay? Lots of people have anxiety, and you can't blow that off, seriously. So as positive as I am, the moment I hear somebody say, well, I'm good for you, I'm glad you feel good about that, but I do not get into, well, you should, this way. No, I say, you know what? I absolutely know. And this is one time that everyone has to do what they have to do. Those that are traveling have accepted the situation. They understand what they have to do, but they're not shutting down their lives. And I'm sorry, but we need them. We need them. And we need those people. And what they don't need is a salesperson or a conference services manager or a general manager creating fear in them. Again, the hotel in Monterey, the general manager, and I'll just finish this and then come. The general manager was on the front drive. They were valet parking the cars because a lot of people aren't. The general manager was on the front drive, greeting every single guest, talking to them, giving them all the information. You're going to check in. We're going to ask that you wear your mask the entire time at the hotel. My name is Chris. I'm the general manager. Here's my card, with his personal cell phone on the card. Okay, now you got to know, and this is a hotel that has several hundred rooms. Those cards were just done and he said, I want you, if you have any questions, if you're nervous about something, if something is making you feel uncomfortable, I want you to call me. So Mary, question.
Yeah, Mark put a really good comment into the chat box that I think is worth mentioning, because he said the small meetings market will be the first to return, and we have the responsibility to instill confidence and trust with our attendees. Then they will attend more larger meetings and conferences sooner. And Nadia said, yes, we have to empower our customers. And I think this is a very important, as Cynthia just said, is that we have to understand the guest perception or the group's perception of, again, what is their comfort level in order to address their concerns or issues or preferences in how to handle things. Because some people have been very comfortable not wearing masks. Other people are more concerned with how you're wearing the mask. So I think that those were some really good comments there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the things you have to remember to that point is the way you guide them is so important. Don't make it like you're going into the emergency room. So, because many people wear the mask like this, okay, right? Well, first and foremost, you got to wear the mask right. Now, I'm giving you my only recent example, okay, so that you can see. This particular hotel had branded masks for everyone. So they weren't just handing out the little blue, but they had a nice cotton with their logo. They were black. They were totally class. Really nice masks that actually fit really well, the kind that don't just flop off. They were giving those to everybody at check-in. They had the hand sanitizer everywhere. They gave you a little bottle for your room. They explained at check-in that the rooms are being taken care of with a spray and infrared lighting. They explained there would not be nightly turn down service, that if you need towels, please call. And I did, just to see how it came. And it came in a sealed, not just I've been to another hotel where they just brought him in almost a garbage bag, you know what I mean? A plastic, and just sat him out in front of the room. Not that cool. And this was more of a luxury hotel, but they had him sealed. Like you see the pillow, like on planes, when you actually got those back in the day, which we probably won't see those again ever, but you know how they're sealed. That's how they brought the towels to your room. They knocked on the door, they handed the towels. So it is, to Mark's point, all these things, you have to set people up for success because they have a lot of questions. And by the way, when this is over, it'll be over like that. You know what I mean? It'll be like, oh, and we'll be looking back. It's just like, I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, after 9/11 and people were afraid to fly, everything was all about that and safety and this. And then notice now, people, it's like that kind of went away, and now it's more about the Clorox. So the better you kind of walk through the situation and answer the questions, and feel seamless, that's going to make it better. Now, when international travelers start traveling, right now we're not coming in there, you're coming here, there, and all that. You have to not be sketchy. It's got to be like, this is what we've put in place. This is what's going to happen. Now, there are people that are traveling internationally and going into their 14-day quarantine. So what does that look like? I mean, do you give me an ankle bracelet? I mean, how do you know? You track my phone. I mean, that's what it's all about. So you want to make sure that you're very, really kind of seamless. So there is money to be had. And I want you to know there is money to be had. And I've had people say this to me. Okay. So I get like a little bit of, we've had to answer some questions. And they said, I can't believe you're talking about making money and getting people out. I go, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but we got to build an economy in every country. Okay. I'm taking it on one country at a time. We have to build our economy. We have to do the right things. But I'm not going to sit back and say it doesn't matter. Obviously a virus can kill us, and so can poverty. So we know how many people have been laid off. We know how many people are out of work. We know that this is so tough. And the hospitality industry has been hit harder than I really honestly believe anybody, because of how we affect, from restaurants to, sporting events, to everything that goes under the hospitality banner. So everybody is loving being outside right now, and it's summer. So why not capitalize on it? It's summer. And again, it's been the hottest summer we've had here in Southern California. Okay, like hot, hot, hot. I was in the Midwest, right? in Iowa and in Michigan where the mosquitoes and the bugs and that. And normally I'm always that one that says, no, we'll set inside. I love outside, but like, unless it's like really no mosquitoes, well, you can't sit inside in some of those places. And I'm like, I'm fine outside. And you just do a little spray with the off and you move on. Fitness to dining to small groups. We are seeing people with small workout, like they've brought bikes outside, the Pelotons out on the deck, and people are spread apart and they're doing their things. The yoga mat spread apart, and the yoga instructor, instead of going along, is talking quietly on a mic. So she's not yelling and spraying, and she's not engaged and right there with them and coming by. Remember in yoga, I've only done it a couple times, but they push you down. They say, no, lean back. No, she's just talking very quietly. And now, breathe 1, 2. This makes money. People are paying for it, okay? Health concerns are dropping despite spikes. Again, we didn't make up these words. We have done focus groups with all the travel advisors we're working with. We have done focus groups because of our restaurant. I'm having a huge fundraiser on September 8th for Miss America. Miss California is going to be here. It's going to be, and September 8th is coming soon, and I'm in California. And so 1,000 people were interviewed. Will you come to that event, right? It's a fundraising event for scholarships for young empowered women. I would say 60% of them said, yes, I would come, because it's going to be outside, going to be spread out. We have a lot of land. Miss California is an unbelievable violinist. She's going to be up on a big stage. There will be no pictures with any of the former Miss Americas. So everybody's being told that. So that sort of reason tells us why we have that bullet that the concerns are dropping. Mary.
Yeah, so Grace had said, we need to evolve for the sake of our customers and our business. And it really is, and I think this is such a good point, Grace, that we have to be confident in our product and really show our pride. We've been through 9/11, and that was obviously very terrible, but we survived and learned from it. So same during this pandemic. And Nadia, I think this is another great point just about safety. She had said we had a series of very small meetings this month, and I would offer trust, and that she was actually going to be verifying everything. So looking at the customer journey and saying what's missing to ensure that safety and well-being and calmness. And it is about training yourself, as she had said, towards safety, well-being, and then regenerating our business. And I think as an industry, that's so important, because we know that if somebody has a really great experience at Nadia's property, that's going to spread the word. But let's say they don't have a great experience at my property, that's also going to kind of spread. So kind of having that confidence in the industry is very important.
And being a part of IAC, you can honestly, we've talked about IAC certification for so many years on everything we do and the importance of it. And now, as Mark mentioned, all the rebounding and what we're doing and the guidelines and helping you and giving you the structure and giving you all of that, that gives you the confidence to be able to speak, because you're independent, let's say, or some of you are part of bigger groups. I understand that. But if you aren't, and you didn't get, your owners aren't giving you, you've got IAC. And that to me allows you to have confidence in what you're talking about. There is less price resistance. We did not change our menu pricing in our restaurant one bit, and we are an expensive restaurant. It is a USDA prime steakhouse, so I can only use what I know, right? And it, without a doubt, did not lower one bit, and it's a la carte, and it's expensive, and it's packed. So, automobile sales. We have 5 major dealerships that we do all their training. They've been open this entire time. They're selling more cars than you can believe, and there's no COVID sticker on it, okay? Hotels, the rate that we paid this last week, well, in Seattle, we were at a hotel for a corporate customer in Monterey, so we paid. In Seattle, we were at a hotel that we're working at, helping them, so obviously there was no rate. But our rate in Monterey was as high of a rate as you can imagine, the same rates. And I mean, we looked at the website, the whole thing, because they were sold out. They're on the water, they're, listening, watching the seas and the kayaking. There was no, oh, here's the COVID rate. No. So clients are more concerned sometimes though with a deal than with hygiene. So I just said they're less price resistance, but They would rather see that you package together an experience for them than, oh, we have 2 bottles of Clorox that will be delivered to your room. Everybody has their own things they bring. I've been carrying, hand sanitizer and wipes forever. I have wiped off the remote control in a guest room forever. I started in housekeeping. Are you kidding me? Like, there's things I've done forever. If there was ever a bedspread on a bed, forever I have taken that off, okay? So you've got to really begin to say, how do we put together some things that aren't hurting our revenue, but enticing them with something fun? As I mentioned, you don't need to know all the protocols, but the specific things about what they need to do, masks throughout the entire hotel. When they're outside, they don't need their mask. We ask that when they're around the pool, they stay socially distanced, and that we do have our activities manager, whatever you want to call it, that will be walking around and just, very gently reminding you that we need to, move over here. We can't, there will be a cabana bar, let's say, but we can't have anybody going to the bar. We've given you these flags you'll put up, all these different things to make it an experience, because that's what they want, by the way. They want an experience. They want amenities. They want space. And so you've got to be able to figure out how to give it to them so that they are like, oh, this is so great. And that is why spending has really increased. Food and beverage spending has gone up. People are out celebrating. Many people saved. I mean, I'm one of them. I have not bought one thing. I mean, in 4.5, I'm going to 5 months. I'll try to take it up. Nordstrom has missed me a great deal. Oh yeah. I get little emails. We've missed you. A little boutique in Houston where my daughter lives and my family, and I only go there when I'm visiting them. They actually called me on the phone because they thought I was local. They said, we noticed that you haven't been in. We've been open now for the last 2 months. I said, well, I live in California. Oh, I mean, they're all reaching out because people have saved money. So now they're spending it, and they're really wanting to know that they can come and have a good stay. And that means it's about trust, not about price. To the point that Mary read, that's the key you were talking about, that it is all about having that trust, which makes a difference. So Mary is a millennial. She's not a Gen Z. Sorry, you got older. I'm not a millennial. So I'm going to have Mary just take a moment and talk about the friends she's talked to, because we're not making a judgment here. We have done our research with real people. So talk a little bit about the millennials.
Yeah, I mean, I recently read an article that the younger generations actually have 4 times more anxiety, just in general. I mean, this is even pre-COVID, post-COVID, in general, just other than boomers. So when you really look at leading your team with clarity, it's very important that we are clear on the protocols and what is happening, because right now those younger generations are having a lot of anxiety. They're having anxiety about their employment. When are they going to come back to work? All of these kind of different things. And really what we're finding is that as an industry, we're more worried about all of these employment and health factors and things that, well, quite frankly, false information sometimes is put out on social media. And actually these younger employees of ours are having a lot more anxiety than actually what is actually going on. So as a leader, it is very important that we don't go dark. We continue to communicate. We continue to update all of these protocols. We do share things if there are financial issues, because that was kind of a big thing, as people are having more financial trouble, that younger generation. Whereas we're seeing the boomers, they can withstand that recession that we talked about. The younger generation is worried more that maybe they will get laid off shortly, or kind of what the future holds. So trust is a multiplier. So when you are leading your team, this is the same thing that was already mentioned about the customer journey. We also have to think about the employee journey. So when they are returning to work, some of you have already been working. And if you've been working, chances are you've been working 7 days a week and many, many hours. And now you have these team members that are coming back that aren't maybe used to being in an environment where people might not be wearing masks if they're sitting just a couple feet apart in an office. So just again, kind of sharing and being very communicative with your team right now is very important, because we want to lower that anxiety just in general from the younger generation.
Absolutely. And this is for those of you that are leaders listening, you've got to, because I honestly, and I've talked to Mary and been on some calls with some of her actual friends. I've chatted with some of the people that, you know, we have working for us out in the field that are millennials, and they're more nervous than me. I mean, so I at first thought, well, maybe because I just have more experience on dealing with crisis and going through things. But as Mary said, as a leader, you've got to really pay attention to that and not make anybody feel isolated that's working for you. So let's take a moment and talk about delivering the positive guest experience. But I want to think of this as from a sales perspective as well. Okay, so, you know, your operations team is working on all of that. Customers want to hear from you that we've got a plan. And what is that plan? So you have to be fluid in how you talk. Sales and events has to be so knowledgeable about what the overall experience. Take them on the journey. Paint the picture, walk them through. This is how we're doing it. You know, we've got a team put together, a hygiene team, a hybrid tech team, all these different things. These are our protocols. Don't just say, well, you can go on our website and just look at our COVID-19. But you're in sales. I need you to tell the story. I need you to talk about it. I need you to explain that we have, you know, an actual RN on our team who is heading up our team. And this is what she's doing. These are our guidelines that we are using. And we are going to completely have your meeting seamless as we bring you back. So we have a rebound series because sales is so vitally important. And you've got to know, and we've got one client that just called yesterday and said, they have 75 hotels. And they said, we need help. We need people to come in on property because our directors of sales that have been working, because that's the only person that was left in sales. Everybody else was gone. Now a few people are coming back. The director of sales is like exhausted. The people that are coming back after 4 months that were furloughed and weren't even on any of the calls are now back. Now what's happening? What's going on? So they said, we need temp work. So I said, well, we've got 30 unbelievable trainers that, you know, are out there in the field and we can get them to you. So we know how to sell. We know how to lead. We know how to make sure that the service is in alignment. So we put together some very personalized, you know, series that will help everybody to go through that rebound. Don't think for 1 minute that you're going to just be able to open those doors, go ahead, business as usual. This isn't the new normal, but it's the next normal. You know, your ability to have your brand messaging changed a bit, your ability to be effective and emotional is vitally important. I truly believe, and you've heard me say this before, there's a few tactical things that as sales leaders, you need to make sure it's happening. 100 touch points a week. You have to have a 90-day sales plan, every single person that's on your team, whether it's events, whether it's social, whether it's meetings, not you doing it as a leader. They need to do it for the next 30 days. This is what I'm doing. For the next 30 days after that, the next 90 days, that's what I'm doing. You have to look at the actual numbers, okay? Remember, we went into this having some of the best months. Well, 2020 started out great. And then bam, flat. So what are the numbers? What are you expecting from people? The other thing, and I've said this on a few other webinars, you have to take a moment and write down all the attributes to have an elite sales and event team, conference planning team, elite. The best of the best must possess this skill, this attitude, and this knowledge. What are they? Then set every one of your team down and say, this is the training plan I'm going to do for you because I need you to be able to step up your presentations on virtual site visits, on Zoom presentations, on whatever it might be. Skill, attitude, and knowledge. Really take a look at that. The other bit is being resilient and being adaptable. So as you look at our Rebound series, we have what we call our pandemic training solutions, okay? generating business in a crisis, proactive selling, visually the art of selling, how to really sell and work remotely because not everybody's coming back, adapting for crisis. We have an everlasting sales and service type of session that allows, think about it. Turnover before COVID in some cases was a hot mess. There was a whole bunch of issues. So let's get it together now. And then of course, leading through this and reservations. Reservations, we've been doing more reservations training because they actually need that sort of help. So we're doing these in full and half day, virtual instructor led training. We're doing 90-minute sessions, and you are going to have a copy of this and you'll be able to look at it and contact us or IAC. So we're doing this so that you'll be able to be involved. There's all sorts of things to help. Generating group business. I've had more people say to me, well, that's ridiculous. You can't just call and ask to book. Well, you've heard people. We're having a lot of small, groups. So you want to be able to share that. Leadership. Leaders are tired. And I've been taught, they're like overwhelmed because they've been doing it all. The general managers, some of them are just having to take like several weeks just to rest because they were doing it all. So we have to make sure we have the leadership, that we inject the skills that they need. We have to make sure we're selecting the right people to come back, that we are helping people to manage with the stress and manage with change throughout all of this. The service. One of the things that, and we've already said this, and I acted a whole session on this as well. It is really important how we convey our service standards during this time. So important. People want it to be normal. They just want it to be normal. And what causes stress for the employees is when the customer doesn't want to do it the right way. And then what happens is we have to be the bad guy, and that is not good. That is really important that we have that done and we've trained people. You just don't give them a sheet of paper and say you have it. You have to practice. And of course, dealing with stress is also very important. So what I would like to do is I want to take definitely some more time. We've got about 9 minutes or so left, and I'd love to open it up for questions. And you can, take yourself off mute if you want to. You can put the grid and make the grid even bigger, but I would love to have you really ask some questions so we can get some real conversation going. Nadia, I see you came off. I love that. How you doing? Nadia, what do you have to say there?
Well, first, I just want to say that I owe my career to you. So really, thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
And like all I have to say is, like every morning you have to create who you're going to be as a leader. And
right.
I can choose to be circumstantial, or I can choose to be like future oriented. There is no going back. It's like onward. That's my signature, has like onward. This is our global conversation. So what I'm grappling with, which by the way, I just booked a 200 people meeting for February.
Fabulous. Congratulations. Everybody
you.
has to ring a bell. That's what we're doing. Ring a bell.
So what I'm grappling with is like on some weeks I'm really on it. And then other weeks it's like, I'm circumstantial. So like, how do I maintain that consistency? And like, how do I have conversations where I'm not like, okay, what's next?
Right.
So like I'm attached to this like physical outcome, which is the contract, and I need to shift differently. So those are the things that I'm grappling with.
All right. Well, let's take a moment because you're probably not the only person grappling with that. Hence why I wanted to have a few more minutes at the end for some good chat. Number one, you have to be completely honest, like you've just been, the moment you feel it coming, because we all get it. And you have to have someone that can talk to you. Now, honestly, you could direct message me on Instagram and say, Cindy, do you have 5 minutes? And I'm telling you, you can ask anybody that knows me. I would go, I got 5 minutes right now. Here's my cell phone. And 100%, right? I would get on that phone, and I guarantee you in 10 minutes, not with fake optimism, I would say, okay, you're grappling because that customer hasn't called you back. Let's come up. See, you're not grappling with, oh, the world's coming to an end. We're in the apocalypse. What do you say, the apocalypse? I never can say that right. Never good at that word because I never want it to ever happen. Okay, so you're grappling with probably, Nadia, the same things as a really, really high competitive salesperson grappled with before COVID. Right? Why
Yes.
didn't I get that contract signed? Why isn't the customer calling me back? So what we would do is we come up with ways like, okay, let's send this email and say, you know what? It's been 3 days. I've left you a few messages. I certainly don't want to bother you. I'm just pretending, right? And that's what I'd say to you if I was on the phone. And then I'd say, but I'm sensing you must have decided to go in another direction. I would so appreciate it because it's helping us to understand what we need to do to really take care of our customers during this time. I can almost guarantee you'll get an email right back. Oh, I'm so sorry, Nadia. We had some changes. We decided we're going to hold off on this for a minute. Can you still hold the dates? But you see what I mean? That is what is circumstantial for you because it probably was that way before COVID, right?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you. And
You're
thank
welcome.
you for positive messaging to everybody that's listening right now. And everybody's still on. So that's a good sign. I love it.
Thank
Other
you.
questions or comments? None in the chat box. Anybody want to open up and speak?
Anybody wants to unmute or?
I mean, come on, add to the conversation. Anybody have any ideas? Who out there right now is actually booking some things, you know, like Nadia just talked about? You know, tell us what the journey was like at your hotel. Anybody? I don't know why people don't like to show themselves. You look kind of cute. You know, all you have to do is say, improve my appearance on Zoom. And then all of a sudden it looks like you had like, you know, Botox or something.
Right. Claire just put in the chat box. It definitely was the case prior to COVID, but we had more business around to work on in between. So we got over it quicker. So that's always great to hear.
Right. So that's what she's saying to Nadia. This is what I want you all to do. This is a community IAC is, okay? This isn't just like this big public workshop where nobody cares about what anybody's doing. It's about the fact that you have to reach out to each other just like that. So Claire's right. You know, when business was booming and you're one lead after another, the one that didn't call you back, it's like, oh, well, okay, move on. And you still want to send that email. But the whole idea is that what Claire just mentioned is 100% right. Anybody else?
Claire also said, I'm going to a hotel this weekend and I can't wait. So
is it your first time, Claire?
First break, she said.
And where's she going? Where are you going?
I'll meet with myself. I'm going away for my husband's birthday. Still in the UK, so not going abroad, but to another county, just a bit of a rest and hopefully relax. It's the first weekend that spa treatments are open as well, so you never know.
You might have a massage or a facial in your future.
Exactly.
So, and where can I ask what county? Like, where are you going? North, south, middle?
So south still, in Norfolk.
Oh, I love it. So fabulous. Kind of down by the New Forest or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's going to be great. Can't wait.
Oh my gosh, it's going to be fabulous. You see, but this is now, Claire, here's my message to you on that. And then everybody listen, okay? So if you follow me on Instagram, Cindy_Novotny, and you share things and you tag me to say there's a vacation in my future, there's travel, I've got thousands of followers, okay? Like 10,000. So then I will share and then, you know, mention your hotel as well. And then even though you're not staying at your hotel, but mention where you're going because that's give the love, mention your hotel. This is how we are getting people. I'm calling it travel inspires travel. Holiday inspires holiday. Well, Claire Holiday, that's so funny. I mean, I can really do a play on that, Claire. You know what I mean? So the idea is that the more we engage this conversation, the more, and you've got to talk about it and show pictures. And if the spa, you don't have to take a picture of yourself laying there with your mask on, but you can take a picture like spas are open. People are getting false information. So we have to make sure as salespeople in this industry, we are those promoters. Because if you just listen to the news or you just listen to people that are skeptical, we're not getting the real story. So we need all of you that are out there in your hotel where you're having your small meetings, taking a picture, placing it on social media. Remember, this isn't going on your website. You know, you're not going to post anything like what I did for that hotel this week. I mean, the general manager was kissing me. I did stories the entire time. Now, again, we had 28 people and I only took a picture of like 10 because I didn't know what the regulation, I didn't want the government coming to shut him down. So, you know, the idea is I took thoughtful pictures, but it was on my Instagram story. He said they got so many followers that they didn't have. People saying, I didn't know you were open. That looks fantastic. This is how we are going to keep it moving. And believe me, it's our job as promoters of travel and tourism to do this, and meetings. Until we meet again, that's what we're doing until we meet again. Any other questions, ladies or gentlemen?
Didn't see any else come in, so.
All right, Kate, any last minute comments from you or Mark?
Yeah, just a couple of things quickly, Cindy from IAC. As always, thank you. Very inspiring, leaving us all very positive. I think everyone would agree. Your sessions all give us a bit of a lift, so thank you and the team for that. Yeah, just a couple of things. So the session, as Cindy mentioned, is going to be recorded, so I'll forward that to you all in the coming days. And just a reminder for those who aren't aware, we do now have an IAC on-demand webinar site on the website, so you can pick up on any sessions you may have missed in previous weeks. Our next session is next Wednesday with all seated, looking at virtual reality. So get yourself signed up for that on our website. It'd be great to have you on board. And yeah, wishing you all a very pleasant day. Keep safe, and we look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep in touch. I will see you next time, hopefully in person, right? Okay. Thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks all.